Malaysia has less than 2 weeks to strike a trade deal with the US before a 25% tariff takes effect in August. What happens if we fail to reach an agreement, and how might Malaysia manage? Ooi Tze Howe from non-profit think tank HEYA Inc. shares his insights.
With a 25% of tariff, versus Vietnam getting 20 and versus Indonesia getting 19, we are actually on very disadvantage in terms of the price competitiveness. And how are we going to navigate that? I think first thing, of course, the way Trump's one things is he likes you to honor his power. Right. So regardless of what, I think retaliation is definitely not a plan on the table. But the key things over here is how could we actually draw US interests or US motivations to actually strike a proper deal, to strike a proper tariff trade agreements with us. So we heard a lot of news that the US would like us to remove a lot of those non-tariff barriers, including the limit cap for foreign equities to invest in our listed company, or even some of the export rules, such as the halal rules and things. Politically, this might not be feasible to remove or even to reduce in certain ways, because it might be a political suicide for the administrations. So we need to put something Trump is more interested. That seems to be a better bait to Trump's administrations, and I would say that would be one of the very important things now is rare earth. All right, so I think rare earth is a good thing for us to put on the table, because for information, Malaysia is the second refined rare earth producers. So we are actually in a situations that we can form a quad. There's a geopolitical quad organizations between Malaysia, India, Japan, and Australia. But in fact, if you look into rare earth metals, the rare earth industry metals in Malaysia, that is also a semi-quad that was funded by Japanese, operated by Australians in Malaysia. So this, if we are able to put this on the table, US, Malaysia, Australia, and Japan, this will again a rare earth metal quad for the US, and this is of very, very huge interest to the US because they are facing a huge supply problem. The supply chain choked by China. China is trying to use these rare earth metals to choke the US, to leverage more on the negotiation tables.
Tze Howe also discussed how repeated tariff threats and shifting rates from the Trump administration may affect Malaysia's long-term economic resilience.
So if Malaysians were to have slapped long terms by 25% of tariff and Vietnam's continue to get a 20, you probably will see some of the MNC here will start to look for some new opportunities in Vietnam. They might not even shift their factories. They will just build a new supply chain over in Vietnam to support all the exports to US. And in that case, we could see a lot of business in Malaysia, whether it's SME or some of the local champions that have a huge export to US, will be affected. And if this is affected, you will start to see a certain degree of unemployment might not be that huge, right? But bear in mind that if governments do nothing, like I mentioned, to help the furniture industries or the rubber industries, then we'll see a massive layoff in that case. So, and then the rising living cost issue will even be more critical. So government is in a very difficult positions, when you try to look into these two policies together, rationalizing the subsidies and also facing the tariff from the US, because the tariff from the US will actually cause economic uncertainties and hence causing our businesses' revenue to reduce, or even to a certain extent of unemployment rates. And that is the time that governments will need to find a way to reduce the living costs to kind of balance up the rising living cost issues.